Wagner.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I'm delighted to speak in support of Budget 2011 because it's a prudent, common-sense budget for difficult times. And it's another step in National's plan to build a better future for New Zealanders. It does exactly what National promised when it was voted into government in 2008. We promised to provide responsible economic management, and we have. We promised to build a stronger economy with a focus on savings and investments, and we have. And we promised to protect the most vulnerable from the rough edges of the international recession, and we've done that too. Budget 2011 continues to build a strong platform for growth. Importantly, it cuts borrowing and sets a path to surplus by 2014 or 15. And it helps lift national savings, but it also protects our most vulnerable families. And it invests heavily in health and education and supports the rebuild of Canterbury. As a one-eyed Cantabrian, born and bred in Christchurch, the funding for the recovery after our earthquakes is the best news. The $8.8 billion, and that includes the ACC and EQC payments, will underpin the rebuilding of the city and the province. It reinforces the Prime Minister's commitment that the rebuild of Christchurch is one of the most important things that this government will do this year and into the future. Research tells us that after any disaster, maintaining the confidence of the people, the institutions and the businesses is critical. And this financial commitment comes just at the right time for Cantabrians. We can now be confident that our city will have the resources and the full support of the government and the people of New Zealand. We know that the recovery will be a long haul, but we're up for it. And we really appreciate the long-term support from everyone. $5.5 billion is allocated to the Earthquake Recovery Fund over the next 6 years. And that fund will be underpinned by earthquake bonds. These bonds will allow New Zealand residents to help Christchurch by providing money for the rebuild. The bonds will provide a solid investment with a safe return, which will appeal to many New Zealanders looking for secure investments. Actually, it's a good new investment opportunity. The Earthquake Recovery Fund will be used to rebuild infrastructure, including schools and health facilities, provide temporary housing for displaced families, and can be used for training, welfare and business support, and for the costs of the CBD demolition. The budget also provides $25 million for CERA, the Canterbury Earthquake Recovery Authority, over 2 years, so that they can help the authority lead the rebuild. Sarah took over from the Civil Defence at the end of April and is leading the recovery. And it's performed very well under the temporary leadership of John Ombler. The permanent CEO, Roger Sutton, takes up his position next Monday, and we're all looking forward to that. And the permanent positions in the authority have been advertised. Sarah has an enormous challenge ahead of it. But I believe it will work well with the people of Christchurch, and we will get an excellent outcome, particularly now that it has been effectively resourced. There is also funding for the rebuilding of the people of Canterbury. $10 million for social support to rebuild lives and communities, and also funding for 4,500 construction-related training positions, including 1,500 new places to begin immediately, worth $42 million. The budget has given the people of Canterbury the confidence to stay in the region and to get on with the recovery, and it's full speed ahead. Many people are beginning to see some positives, that there are some silver linings in our situation. A constituent visited my office last week and said that the good thing about the earthquake is that now he's got a job. The funding from Budget 2011 ensures that the recession is over for Christchurch and that our city will have a brighter future. We are already beginning to pick up the pieces. Retail spending is back to 95% of normal, having dropped to 60% after the February quake. Many businesses are doing very well, and the suburbs are booming. Our regional ports have increased activity, and although the job market suffered post-quake, it has quickly rebounded. The rebound has been driven by both construction and IT roles, and in April there was an increase in all jobs advertisements. There's actually been a new increase too in the number of new companies that have been registered this year. Of course, the disaster has caused job losses, but the government employee subsidy was very successful in bridging the employment gap, and since it has finished, despite fears that thousands could be out of work, only 750 Cantabrians have gone on the unemployment benefit. And it is very positive to see that just last week, 255 Cantabrians went off the benefit and into work. My constituent was right. There are more jobs around. It's been great to see large corporates making new investments in Christchurch. Both Coca-Cola Amatil and Kathmandu are investing in new facilities which will employ local people, and that's very encouraging. Also, the government's just announced rollout of ultra-fast broadband will provide a positive boost to businesses and organisations throughout the region. It will support the many new ways of doing business that we are exploring in Christchurch right now and assist us to become a better, more prosperous and more sustainable city. All in all, Budget 2011 is a great budget. It's a great budget for all New Zealanders, but more importantly to me, it's a great budget for the earthquake-shattered Canterbury and Christchurch. So thank you, Prime Minister John Key. Thank you, Minister of Finance Bill English. Christchurch and Canterbury will repay your confidence by rebuilding the second largest city in our country to be safer, more beautiful and more sustainable, and so that once again Canterbury will be an efficient and effective gateway to the South Island and deliver financially for New Zealand way beyond our population numbers.
Jacinda Ardern.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.